Daniel's back. This is our fourth video. I've been MIA on YouTube. This is going to be an absolute banger. Daniel, how are you? What are we talking about today?
What's up, brother? Thank you for having me back on for round number 4. And I feel like every time I come on here, I come in with a list of a bunch of stuff I've been thinking about. So I very conveniently have my note card of a bunch of things I wrote down. And then we can kind of, once it's all said and done, we can kind of get the title from it after there. But let me kind of just like go through what I have on here, and then we can kind of, I guess, take it one by one, and then I'll talk about what I'm thinking, and then like if you like, we'll see how it interjects into your business as well. But the first thing is, I've been pushing this really hard on Twitter lately, and to people inside Client Ascension, is just content marketing and not just cold emails. And the way I want to explain the reasoning for why it's important to have content marketing is by comparing two different businesses. Let's assume there's two businesses, they have the same exact offer, they're sending the same exact cold email script to the same exact niche, company size, employee at the company, employee level. They're basically the same exact everything. And one of them happens to have a very strong social media presence. If you Google their name, they have things that pop up. If you Google their company name, they exist. The person has a LinkedIn profile, they have a Twitter, maybe they have some YouTube videos. And what happens is if you execute the same cold email campaign for the person who has zero online social presence and the person who does in exactly the fashion with which I just described, the person with the online presence is going to get all of the results. And it's not just like an incremental, like, oh, it's going to help you like 10, 20%. It's no. You're going to get all of the results, like 100% of it. And the person with no social media presence is going to get precisely zero. And it makes sense if you simply think about what a rational human being would do if they receive a cold email. I get cold emails all the time, and if you just pay attention to exactly what you're doing, it's, okay, cool, cold email, what's in the signature? Like, is it their name? Do they have their company link? And I'm not going to click the link. I'm going to like write out what the URL is in case it was like hyperlinked to some other link that isn't that. So I'm going to write out what that URL is exactly in the address bar, and it's going to take me to your landing page, right? Do you have a video on your landing page? If I Google your name, do you show up? Do you show up on LinkedIn? Is it the same URL on your social media profiles that you just cold emailed me with? And I'm looking for all these symmetries. Do you exist on the internet? And everybody does this, right? And I feel like a lot of people, they just kind of ignore these things because it would be slightly inconvenient to develop an online social media presence. But if you have any intention of building a relatively large company and producing a lot of revenue, you can't not do that if you're doing outbound. And there's this very convenient runoff effect, and that the content marketing is going to get you inbound leads also, yes. Right? So it's not only are you getting leads from inbound, it's like the outbound is working way better as well. So it's a double whammy. You hit two birds with one stone. So it's an absolute necessity.
Yeah, dude. And on that, it's crazy how many like 7 and 8 figure CEOs have been hitting me up lately because they've got no personal brand, right? They've done all this hard work and effort building this brand, and now they realize that leverage is within the personal brand. It's within the social proof. When they want to go raise their next round of fundraising, it's going to be so much easier if their investors already follow them. When they want to exit, it's going to be so much easier for those people to exit to folks in their audience. So yeah, dude, 100%. I think that the 2 points, you made a lot of great points. I think the 2 points that you made is like, for the outbound efforts that you're going to need to do out the gates, having that social brand, having that social proof, having that leverage is going to make the results 10, 20, 30x someone else, all things being equal. And then the inbound, dude, that's the name of the game. Like for our agency, we don't do outbound. So with inbound, leads close extremely quickly because there's that inherent trust. They close at the price that we tell them because there's no this game, right? Like you're either a fit for us or you're not. And if you're a fit, you're paying the rate that everyone else is paying. So 100% agree.
Inbound leads are the best thing ever. It really actually is, and it has such higher leverage. And even if you're not just running outbound, like you're doing ads as well, it makes it work
Yes.
so much better. It's
I
really.
see your ads all the time, and you probably see mine. I see you all over my feed every single day. I can't escape you. I don't want
It's
to, but I can't escape you.
it's retargeting ads. I do
Yes.
no cold traffic ads, none. It's just retargeting because one, it's cheap. Your CPMS are really cheap, and
Yeah.
it's like all these people are warm, so like it converts so well. And I talked about this at the Client Ascension event, but just frequency. Like you need to. I associate e-commerce email marketing with you. Like if I hear that phrase, I automatically think of you. And the people who follow me on Twitter think they hear cold email and they automatically associate that phrase with me, like quite literally
Yes.
cold email wizard. So what you're trying to do with frequency and retargeting ads and posting a lot of content is trying to permanently associate some kind of mechanism or thing with your name. And not everyone is buying now, but the moment they are at a point where they feel as if they should convert, like I need this right now, they've permanently associated that mechanism with you. So you're just the default option.
Yeah, dude, and I think like the example is like, for example, real estate. People are so infrequently in the market to buy and sell, but when they do, the friend or the person that they're on their newsletter that's constantly creating that content and staying top of mind, they're going to be the first call, right? So when you're doing things like real estate, it's really hard. That's especially important, and especially with us, like people are going to be needing email because they're going to want to, instead of doing it internally, they want to outsource it or they want to move from one agency to another. So in things like what we do, the frequency aspect is so important because people are making decisions ASAP, right? Or they know someone that's going to do it. And I think for me, like the biggest change I made over the years, like 6, 7 years ago when I had my first agency, we were like a jack of all trades, master of none. We offered everything underneath the sun, and my friends and family didn't know what I did, so they couldn't help me. And now, like I've got random people from childhood sending me leads in business because they think of me as the ecom email guy. So it's pretty crazy.
I've got two things that I think you'll find are very interesting that I've just done. One is a discovery, and two is an action. So, one is that I've been ripping the YouTube shorts, and I can basically just see in real time like what is performing and what is not, and algorithmically they push your shorts further the higher the completion rate is or the replay rate is. So it makes sense that a very short video will get a lot of reach. And if you like leave it on a cliffhanger, if you like are about to make a point and you don't complete it, people like go to the comments. You see some more and they're gonna like rewatch it and be like, wait, what? Or they might, particularly in YouTube Shorts, if you put in the comments, full video right here. Now you use the short form traffic to push to the long form traffic, right? All right, and now is my action and what I have done with this information. I have just hired somebody to make 10 YouTube accounts for me that just repost my shorts. So it started today. I have 11 YouTube accounts right now. I have the 10 dummy ones and my main one. And all of the dummy ones, the shorts, just push to the main channel. Because it's you push the same short, it goes to a different audience, there's different hashtags, and so I'm really excited to see how this works out.
Wow. And when you look at like this test or this experiment, how much time are you giving it? Are you going to check on it in 30 days, 60, 90 days? And like, how do you measure success?
Yeah, I don't really know. I guess I'm gonna find out. It's not even that expensive. I'm paying them. I was already paying the guy to do shorts for me, but he wants to do 3 a day. So what I've done is every Thursday I've blocked out an hour of time, and I'm just gonna go find somebody in Client Ascension and be like, hey, do you want to get on a recorded podcast style thing? It's not going to be like posted as a podcast. It's literally like, I'm going to give you the raw file. I'm going to take the raw file and we're just going to extract clips from you and I talking. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So that is sufficient enough to be able to get 3 a day from. And then I also have like whatever podcast I go on. So like, for instance, like this, I'm literally going to send this recording to my guy and he's going to go extract shorts from it. And you're probably going to see them from one of my 11 accounts. And you're just going to see me talking on there.
I love that.
Out, if you that's 33 pieces of content a day. So it's like 33 times 30. You're pushing 990 videos a month, bro.
At that rate, it's impossible for like a few of them not to go viral, right? Just based off the math, probably 5 or 10% of those videos will go super viral. A percentage of those videos will do pretty well. Some will do okay, and then some obviously aren't going to get any traction. But like, you're just going to be putting out, I don't know anyone that's putting out almost 1,000 videos a month. That's insane.
He was also pitching me to make 10 TikTok accounts and 10 Instagram accounts, and I said no, I'll just do the YouTube. But the reason why I like YouTube is because it very easily transitions into go to the long form and just click the subscribe. That's like the function of why I'm trying to do YouTube. Another thing I've been really just sitting here studying YouTube for a while is just YouTube SEO. So like all of these Google Doc style videos I've been making, the title of it is very specifically taken from exactly what people are searching. I just use this tool called vidIQ, and it tells me what people are doing. And it's like, it gives you like an SEO score. I'm literally just trying to rank for specific search terms that my prospects would otherwise be putting into the search bar. That's all I'm doing.
Dude, I love it. Couple thoughts. I think one, like video as a mechanism is so important. I was doing a good job for a while and I kind of just fell off. So you hitting me back up and us doing this re-inspired me. There's this guy named Neil. I can't remember his last name, but I think his name's like Neil Home is his handle or something. He's like some real estate finance guy. Have you seen this guy?
Mm-mm.
He's been blowing up with that, and he kind of is doing the Gary Vee model where he has like 1 or 2 videographers follow him at all times, and he's been speaking at tons of events, so he's getting like that social proof of being in person in a filled room. He's doing tons of podcasts. I think he has a podcast he hosts with like Ryan Pineda. He's had Gary Vee on a bunch, and I'm actually meeting up with him in a few days to just do a bunch of content. So we're going to be in person for an hour, just going back and forth, and he's going to have 2 people there just filming content. So I'm really pushing to myself to do that. But where I've been focusing a lot, which I think you were doing some of it, I don't know if you're still doing it now, was LinkedIn. For whatever reason, LinkedIn has been a platform where my content has just been taking off. I started on August 2nd, going really, really hard. At the time of recording this, right, this has been a couple months. And from there, I've gone from 27,000 to 66,000 followers. I've almost like 2.5, 3x my following in like a couple months. And I'm getting 2 million impressions per week on my content. It's crazy.
That's crazy. I know I stopped posting on it. I really should go back to posting on it. But I was dude, LinkedIn pushes you really far. Like I would make a post with like I had like 500 followers and I was getting like 20,000, 30,000 impressions a post, and I'm like, "Yo, this is crazy." And I think the reason why they do that is because there's such a disparity between the amount of people who post and the amount of people who consume, so they have no other choice but to just post, to show your post. So like they have to. They have nothing else to show. It's just so funny.
It's crazy. Like we both have right around 100,000 followers on Twitter, and a post on Twitter that does decent might get us, I don't know, 5 to 10,000 impressions. One that does well might be like 25 to 50,000 impressions, and ones that do really, really well, like the threads especially, will be, 6 figures. But that same content on LinkedIn with the same audience or a smaller audience, for some reason, is outperforming. It's pretty crazy.
I know. It's. I really should post it. I'd kind of feel dumb for actually stopping that.
And it's the same playbook. What works on Twitter works on LinkedIn. There are some nuances where like a retweet on Twitter is weighted way more than a repost on LinkedIn. Likes and comments are weighted really high on LinkedIn. But getting people to engage, putting out content, you see everyone, I think, on LinkedIn doing like the screenshot of the tweet and then having text. That format works really, really well. So it's just really interesting to see like the similarities. And I'm more of like a written guy. I like to write copy. I like to be, typing emails and whatnot. So that's why my content, I think, works well on email, Twitter, and newsletter. And you're entertaining, you're fun, you have a great persona, you have a great energy. So I think video for you, obviously, in addition to the others, is absolutely going to crush. If it hasn't already, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it's going pretty good. How is Copy MBA going for you guys? I know I've seen a couple people who said they took it and they're like, "Yo, this is so good." Like, was that like a rocket ship when you first released it?
Yeah, it's going well. So we're probably about 2 to 2.5 months in. Month one, we did 6 figures. Month two, we did like mid 5 figures. So at this point right now, it's gone pretty well. I think we've juiced a lot of our own audience right now that we've done like
Mhm.
150, 200,000, however much it's been on the course. And now we're trying to figure out the engine of, kind of lukewarm or cold to getting that. And all my courses, I have like 5 or 6 courses. I've sold 3 or 4 thousand copies. I've probably done like high 1 million, maybe low 2 million on my course, all organic. I never could crack paid. So we're
Mhm.
now trying to crack that. We did a webinar a couple weeks ago. We had about 1,000 people sign up. We had about 200 people join. We're running a webinar in a few weeks. So we're getting better. We're trying to figure that out. So it's been really, really great with the warm audience. But now we
Mhm.
have to go expand, which will be a whole different thing for me.
I feel like um I feel as if the market is shifting away from like a standardized like course model, and it's more so shifting towards like a one-on-one or coaching
Yes.
type thing. That's exactly why we made client ascension, because one, it's like what people are buying, and two,
Yeah.
it increases results and you can charge a lot more money. I just feel like
Yeah.
there's I've been seeing a lot of stuff where it's like doing a very specific kind of mechanism, and like one of the hardest ripping offers right now. I bought it um from Cole Gordon. It's we'll place a setter inside your business.
Nice.
So what a setter means in this context is you have an opt-in page, name, email, and then he's telling you to put a phone number, bam, zap that over to the setter. The setter calls them, and the setter attempts
Nice.
to like set the meeting on the sales call. But I feel like in terms of just scaling digitally based offers right now, I feel like two things work, and one is it's either like a cheap course or it's like an expensive coaching program, and I think those are the easiest ways to do it. But coaching programs, you can just position these things so much differently. So I think the positioning for copy MBA is to like teach somebody how to be a copywriter, but you could like sit here and you could angle it as like a B2B thing where it's like, hey, we're gonna so like you're probably I know Mason does copywriting for like he'll do it for like local businesses and shit like that, but maybe angle it towards like, hey, if you're running a software company right now, your landing page probably isn't, or like you need to
Yeah.
we're going to show you how to increase your sign up rate this much by converting the way you present your software by changing it to a direct response offer, right, or something like that. I mean, he's a better copywriter than me, but what I'm trying to
Yeah,
get at
100%.
is just like angling things more towards B2B, and then you can just it's so much easier to make so much more money, and you know this because you run an agency as well. But it's like when you make a sale and that one individual sale is a significant amount of revenue, it's it's so easy to grow a business when it's like that, because every sale is really good, as opposed to like, oh cool, $500 sale of a course where like doesn't it really doesn't even matter. You see what I mean?
Yeah, dude, and the recurring nature of it, like with the agency, like we'll do north of 8 figures this year on the business. On the services I sell every day, every week, we're selling, $6,500 to $8,500 email marketing package. If you upsell into like an SMS, it's an extra 1,500 to 3,000, right? So oftentimes, like the monthly retainer of a client over time ends up being like, $8,000 to $10,000, right? And we're able to sign, a couple of those a week. So it really does add up pretty quickly. And to your point, like there's a company called Maven, and they're doing the more of like the cohort based kind of courses, and those seem to really be taking off, right?
Yeah,
It's like
they
an 8 week
do.
intensive,
Yep.
one on one. It's all live. It's not pre recorded. So yeah, I've thought about that a lot. It's just easier to build it once right now and then
Hmm.
scale it that way because that's what I've done
Yeah.
before. But to
Yeah.
your point, like we've been talking about in the future doing like a, I don't know, a high ticket, almost like a closer cartel, Mason and
Hmm.
Luke are friends, and kind of almost doing like that type of model where we'll provide jobs, we'll teach you how to sell, we'll teach you all that. But we really want to nail like the funnel where we feed people into that. Because right now I think we've had a couple hundred students. I don't remember exactly how many students, 300, 400 students, something like that. I want to get that base to like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 students, and then build out the high ticket offer, just knowing that a percentage of those people are obviously going to opt in. And then, right, like that high ticket thing funds the entire low ticket thing. If the front end ends up then being something even cheaper, like a 47 or $97 gets people in, and then if they go through kind of the value ladder, right? So definitely, how's your stuff going? How's Client Ascension doing? How is the event? What's kind of on your mind with all that stuff?
Dude, the event was so fun. So, like for context for everybody who's watching this, we have a program called Client Ascension, and we threw our first in-person mastermind. 115 people showed up. We had a bunch of speakers.
Sick.
It was in Tampa, Florida, and it was so fun. And I have a video of it on my YouTube channel, both my talk and like the preparations for it. But like we went out after, and it was so fun, like being around so many people, like clients and people from Twitter. And like at night, we got hammered, and it was like really fun. Um, yeah, I sent you a picture of me and Phil Rivers. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
great.
was bummed I couldn't make it, man. I was so bummed, but it looks sick. And with the event, was the only way that you could attend if you were in Cloud Ascension? Did you sell tickets? What was the purpose of the event?
Yeah, yeah. If you were in Client Ascension, you could come for $97, but if you were not in Client Ascension, you could come for $700.
Got it.
So it was
Nice.
like half the people there, or a little bit more than half, were in Client Ascension, and then the others were not in Client Ascension. But it was so fun. It was such a good time. But the business itself is going really good. In particular, I feel like I go through these like seasons of like significantly changing something. It was like, oh, I was so dumb for not doing that, and then you implement it. And I'll explain what I did the last season, and then I'll explain what the current season I am in right now and what I'm changing. So the previous season was getting a setter in the business, because like you'd go to clientascension.com, there would be an opt-in, name, email, bam, VSL. And then what we did was we had a name, email, phone, and then VSL. And what the phone is the setter's just gonna he'll give you a call. If you don't answer, he's gonna text you, right? And doing that significantly increases the amount of calls you get booked by like a very large degree. So like what'll happen is on an opt-in page, say you're getting like 15% opt-ins on your page, and then you add a phone number field, it's gonna go down to like 6 or 7. And you're like, oh no, like the business is ruined. No, 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 no. You're gonna get more sales calls, and the sales calls are gonna be better. Very, very interesting. So it's like, oh, your opt-in rate is so low. I'm like, yeah, but I have like 5,000 phone numbers. So it's like, I don't care, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, we'll book like 5 to 10 meetings every single day and close like 4 to 6 people a week. So it's like, what I mean? It's going pretty well. But the season I feel as if I'm in right now is and you'll relate to this because you have a similarly sized social media than mine, and it is in that when you get so many followers, like you might get like 200 followers a day or something like that, and that's so many people to deal with. You can't sit here and like DM people and try to like operate a sales process. So what I'm doing is I'm just deploying more setters onto my followers through DMs, through Twitter DMs. So if somebody's sitting here like interacting with my tweets, like liking, commenting, retweeting, or they follow me, someone's gonna message them. If like they're gonna read their bio and like, hey, name, like I saw you're like interacting with Daniel's tweets. I work at his company and wanted to ask real quick, are you running a B2B business or an agency? Like, oh yeah, I'm running an agency. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, in complete transparency, um, I'm trying to sell you client ascension right now. You know, and that's kind of like the way I want to operate it, because I think it's really funny. Well, I get cold DMs and stuff all the time, and people will be like, "Hey, bro, like not trying to sell you anything, but like question." It's like, bro, like come on, stop. I'm just gonna be like, "Hey, bro, I'm like really trying to sell you something right now. You want me to tell you about it?" Like,
So funny when people try to be so discreet and they almost kind of try to like anti-sell, and it's like for people that understand it, you could read through it so quickly. There's like these health and these fitness guys out there that just send me the same DMs. I'm like, all right, I already know what you're trying to sell me. And then these other guys that like come out of the blue, like you just know what it is, and it's just like you kind of play along sometimes because I want to see if they have anything interesting, but it's often all the same. So the
it's
fact that you're like being so transparent and kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna sell you, and you're gonna want this, like, and if you don't, like, okay,
Well, it's a pretty good offer if you happen to be running a B2B business. Like the stuff that is included, like it's pretty. It would be difficult to screw it up. You know what I mean? Like if someone comes into client extension, they have like they're at 5K a month and they're running oh, we do like a TikTok editing type agency. It's like easy, done. Get that to 30K a month in like 5 months, 6 months. Like easy. It's just so easy. Which kind of like takes me into another thing I want to talk about, and it's market sophistication levels and how the difficulty of selling particular kinds of offers changes over time. And I think a really good one to give an example of is like Facebook ads, like Facebook ads as a service, primarily to e-commerce brands. I feel like in 2014, 2015, you could come along and you could just say, like, hey, like, are you looking for somebody to advertise on Facebook for you? And it would just easy, bam, like so. You could probably acquire a client for like every 300 cold emails you send. Like, and
oh, easy.
I'm not saying book a call for every 300. I'm saying like get a client for every 300, like 2015. And then what happens is over time, as an opportunity gradually gets introduced to a market, is people start to make YouTube tutorials on it, and then they start to sell BizOp courses on it. This is such a good indicator of when a market is about to sophisticate. And it is at the precise moment where a 16-year-old starts selling a course on it. It's such a good leading indicator. So I'll give you an example of a market that is very easy to sell, right? An offer that is very easy to sell right now. And it is editing videos like TikTok style,
Yes.
or shorts, and repurposing content. It's so easy to sell that right now, and it's going to be easy for about like 10 months. It's so funny because people will come to me and they'll like, people talk about it on Twitter, like, yeah, it's a good business, yeah, it's a good business, and people come in and they'll be like, yeah, bro, I feel like everyone's doing that, it's probably saturated. It's like, no, you don't understand what saturated means. Saturated means that there are 16-year-olds selling courses on how to do it, right? Like, and I don't mean like how to do the video editing. I mean like a BizOp course where it's like, I'm going to show you how to make a $10,000 per month TikTok content repurposing agency. Like, that's what I mean. Not the mechanism, the BizOp. It's the best indicator of all time.
Yeah, and that goes back to the first point you made, right? With like the fact that like you're going so hard on video, you just hired someone, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, they're all battling for like who's going to be the king of video content. So they want to push you, and everyone's doing it, right? You're crushing it. You have people like Hermosi that's crushing it. Everyone wants to do that, and everyone wants to work with the people that do that. So yeah, I have a guy that I pay like $30, $35 a video to, right? That I've made like 10 introductions for him, and now he doesn't even have time for me because I've
Yep.
introduced him to so many other people because he's
Dude,
good.
no, same. This is I get it all the time. I get so many messages like, "Hey, bro, like, who makes your videos? Like, who makes your videos? Who makes your videos?" And that's how I know it's
Yes.
such a good business. Until I see that like there are quite literally hundreds of thousands of people selling it, it's like I think there really actually might be only like 1,000 people who are good at it actively selling it, like, on Earth right now, like actually
Yeah, 100%.
like competent at it. But what happens is if you're like an early adopter, you start to uncover like really, really good tricks and like upsell type opportunities and like moats and stuff like that. And an example of a moat is the guy who's doing my shorts making 10 YouTube accounts for me. Like that's a
Yes.
good upsell, and it's something that some random person would, one, and not even think of, and then two, know how to functionally execute. And I mean, like, how do you make that many YouTube channels? Like, what if you get IP blocked and things
Yes.
like that? It's like they would have no clue how to even do that. So
Yeah,
it's like, it makes a lot of
everyone's
sense.
here doing the editing, right? And this guy is just climbing up, offering additional value, doing things that other people can't, doing things that other people haven't even thought about, right? Like, I never thought about doing 10 channels, right? Like, why would you do that? Like, how does that work? So that person obviously has mastered the basis and now is in the advanced territory, right? And he's probably going to crush it. You know, if it works, right? And he's like, hey, let's do 50 channels. You're like, all right, well, if I could then 5x the 10 and the growth, like, sure, let's do 50, right? Now he has
That'd be
way more work.
you're actually allowed to connect 50. No, it was some absurd number. I don't know. It's because you have like a Google Analytics, you have a Google ad account, and then you have YouTube channels. And I think it's some absurd amount of YouTube channels you can connect to a Google Ads account. It was either like 50 or 200 or something like that. And what you can do is everybody who watches the videos on that one, you can retarget them with YouTube ads. So it's just the funniest thing ever that you can just do things like that.
Super smart. One of the clients I advise, he's about to do a bunch of YouTube ads too. And I think he made like 80 videos or something. They're going to run like 40 grand a month or something on the paid ads. He was saying, if I'm not mistaken, that his ads guy mentioned that you could literally target people that were like on Klaviyo.com or on attentive.com or on a specific page on those websites. Like you can get that granular. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it just makes sense.
I haven't really, I'm not, like, I've done Google ads before. I've never done YouTube ads before. And it's really so interesting to me that, like, if you were to take everyone, basically everyone knows how to do Facebook ads, and there is so much content online and courses and mentorships and tutorial videos about Facebook ads, and there's so much more interest about Facebook and Instagram ads than there are with Google ads. And Google ads are older, and I think it is solely just because of the UI, their interface. The Facebook one is so much easier to use and makes so much more logical sense than the Google one, because you have to intersect the YouTube account and then the Google Analytics and then the Google Ads, and then like you have the Google Analytics property ID, and that code you have to put in the head tracking tag, and then there's also a Google one, and like the conversions track differently. It's complex. But the Google Ads targeting and like the YouTube targeting is so much better. It's insane. Like you can like intent, like people who searched for specific things on Google can be advertised to on YouTube, which is just the wildest thing ever. Like specific phrases, like how to cold email, and then I can send you ads. Like it's so smart.
Yeah, dude, I think it's honestly probably pretty slept on. It's very underrated. So I'm excited to see what you do. Was there anything on your list that you wanted to run through? If not, I have one question for you.
Draw me the question, and then I'll kind of like riff and what else I got in here.
Okay, so obviously you have the Cold Email Wizard, the Black Hat Wizard Twitter account, almost 100,000. I just got a request the other day from a personal account, and I DM'd you. I'm like, "Yo, is this you? What's the motivation, or why do you now have a new account
Okay.
in addition to obviously the old?"
I was just talking to Andre about this yesterday. So my YouTube channel is Daniel Fazio, right?
Okay.
So what's going to happen is I will slowly over time acquire people who know me as Daniel Fazio and not as Cold Email Wizard. So logically, if I'm sitting here explaining, go follow me on Twitter, they're going to search Daniel Fazio. And Daniel Fazio previously did not exist. They don't even know what Cold Email Wizard is. However, on that Twitter profile, I'm saying I am Cold Email Wizard, right? That's why I did it, because that is what is going to happen.
Understood. So is it serving almost as like a landing page, or are you actually going to build that out into its own account that's big and kind of standalone?
I might like occasionally post things on there, but it's primarily just for it to exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll post some stuff on there if I think it's important. Like, it would probably be a lot of just video stuff. Like, I think it will almost be exclusively videos posted on that Twitter account, probably.
Nice. Yeah, one interesting thing that I'm doing, you might have seen this, but I have a couple accounts on Twitter and then I have a couple accounts on LinkedIn that aren't Chase Diamond. I'm kind of going the opposite way, right? Kind of you kind of started with the persona of cold email wizard, not leading with Daniel, and now you're kind of having at least the Daniel. I started with the Chase, and now I'm building out pages that don't have like my name or my face on it. So I guess I had two accounts on Twitter and then two accounts on LinkedIn. I dropped one of them because it was too much work, but I now have a copywriting account on both. So I think on both platforms, I've got like 15 or 20,000 followers now on this copywriting account, right? It's just one copywriting tweet or one copywriting post a day. And dude, it's crazy. Some of the engagement on these other accounts get more than my own. Like it's not uncommon for like my Twitter daily copywriting one to get like 300 to like 700 likes, on a weekly basis, even sometimes multiple times per week.
Yeah,
And on my LinkedIn, it's crazy. Or else my personal one, I'm like, I get like 100 likes, 200 likes, 300 likes pretty consistently, but I don't get the 1,000 likes that sometimes these other accounts will get. It's pretty crazy.
yeah, you're just building digital assets, just digital real
Yes.
estate, right? Like you can
Yes.
quite literally quantify like where it's like the value of a digital asset is directly proportional to how much traffic it can get, right? That's literally
Yes.
like if you're walking around a city, like the highest commercial value is going to be where most of the people are walking. Like that's
Yeah.
quite literally what determines it, right? So it's like
New York Times, right?
you're just building up brand assets. That's all you're doing. It just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Times Square, New York City, right? You have all the billboards there. It gets a lot of traffic. Well, I don't know about today, but it used to, right?
Yeah.
Used to get a lot. Was there
Yeah.
was there anything else on your list? This has been awesome.
Yeah. So I feel I got some interesting stuff to share. So this is going to speak to the importance of why you need to pay attention to precisely the exact phrases that your customers or prospects are using. And I mean exact phrases. And I'm going to give you an example. So our setter sent us a conversation of somebody who was having in texts with one of our prospects. And they were saying basically that I'm confused about what you mean about agency. Do you mean marketing agency? We're a B2B services company, so I'm confused about what agency means. If they said that, thousands of other people said that, which kind of led me to the conclusion that if I have the tagline of Client Ascension, we help agencies and B2B businesses grow to 30K a month, 100K a month with cold email, then what will happen is it will alienate people who don't identify as an agency. And if you instead just list out all of the things that they would identify as, we help B2B companies, agencies, consultants, B2B SaaS, and freelancers get clients with cold email. And that's it. So I did that. I did a split test in ClickFunnels on the headline. Just instantly, immediately, opt-in rate goes up. And I'm like, interesting.
Yeah, and almost the context of the sorry, I was gonna almost the context of the others then makes the agency more clear what it means, right? So it's almost like now there's all these other buckets that someone could fall into. And if they were an agency but they didn't identify as an agency, by having like a freelancer or a consultant or those other things, you then almost can identify as an agency or it becomes more clear.
Yeah, exactly. And like consultants too, because there's a lot of people who just kind of identify themselves as a consultant because their offer might be like some done with you, some done for you. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, cold email is going to work. Or like we teach content marketing in there too. So it's like, yeah, that's going to work, right? And then just sales every single company that would be selling any kind of high ticket service is going to need some kind of sales operation. All of them. So it's like, yeah, it logically makes sense. But I was talking to somebody. Just goes to like offer positioning. I was talking to somebody in Client Ascension, and he's a very interesting offer, and he trains security companies, like security guards, to like basically make them more aware and like getting less altercations. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to translate to him. I'm like, well, who buys this? And he's like, oh, the security company. He's like, oh, because they want their security guards to have training. But then I'm like, why? Why do they want their security guards to have more training? Go deeper. Like, what's going to happen if they're not trained? And he goes, oh, well, what'll happen is like their insurance companies can raise their rates, and they actually have this thing, like in particular in the state of California, where if you get too many violent incidents, you get your license taken away and then you go out of business. And then I'm like, there you go, right there. I'm like, here's your headline. We help security companies retain their, like, if it was cold emailing the ones in California, where it's like, we help California-based security companies not lose access to their business license or something like that. I'm like, you're not selling training to security guards. You're selling keeping your business alive to the owner of the security company.
Yeah, we prevent security companies from losing their license or something, or we
exactly.
prevent you from, losing money through claims or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to explain that positioning to him, and we were sitting here for a while, and then he listed out some other ones too. I don't have them off the top of my head, but it made so much sense at the end of it. I was like, yeah, so now this is going to go in your VSL. This is going to go in your cold email script, and it's going to be so easy to sell it, because he was just one of those guys who's been in this industry for a long time, and I Google search his name, and he shows up everywhere, has a book, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be so easy.
Yeah, the stuff that he's talking about is probably like the sub things, like the subheaders, right?
Exactly.
Like the list of things that you do and you actually deliver, right? The scope, the service offering. Like with email marketing, right? Like the headline could be, we help, e-commerce brands make X% more or 2X more with email, right? And then everything underneath is like, we do the campaigns, the flows, the segments, the deliverability, etc. Like they care about those things, but they need to know, right? Like the legitimacy of what you actually are going to sell, who you work with. Have you done this before, right? So yeah, you need something kind of sexy and bold and kind of that can capture attention.
Yeah. California security company owners, state regulators are trying to take your license. You need to do this right now. Bam, sales letter. So it would rip so hard. All right, another thing. There's one last thing I have on here, and I have like a Telegram channel that I just put voice messages into, and I put this voice message out today, and it was in relation to, there's a difference between trying to sell what is logistically easy for you versus what people actually want to buy. And I want to explain that with the following example as to what somebody was messaging me about. And it was, he's trying to be like an automations consultant, where it's like he helps agencies with like onboarding flows for clients and stuff like that. And then I hear that, and you probably hear that, and you're like, I don't care.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's like I'm fine. I don't need that. So I tried to break this down to him. I'm like, yeah, you want to sell that because what you did is you learned some kind of like mechanism, like you learned how to use Zapier and maybe some like workflow type stuff, and then you kind of just like crafted an offer out of your ass, just made something up. But I'm like, what you need to do instead is interject the traffic to where it's already flowing. And I pulled this example out of an experience of mine, and it was that one time I had this extremely complex zap I needed to make, and it had to do with Stripe. It was like distinguishing between who was on trial, how many trial days they left, if they input their card. And it was like a whole sequence of things that I could not figure out myself. And I was tweeting, I was like, I need somebody who is like an absolute pro at Zapier, knows how to do this specific thing I'm looking for. And I'm Google searching too, like how to see who's on trial with on Stripe and Zapier. And like I'm trying to add tags to it and ConvertKit so I can segment people. And I could not find an answer to this, right? So I was telling him, and every time I would Google search, there would be a Zapier blog post that would show up, oh, how to connect this app and this app. And then it's a blog post from Zapier, and it's like an interactive landing page where you just like click this button and it opens this up. But there's no actual direction. It just pushes you to sign up for Zapier. So I was explaining to him, I was like, Zapier has all of these blog posts, all specifically dedicated to individual app connections, but they don't have a video on it. I was like, if you were to sit here and get some SEO tool, input Zapier's blog post, see what the search traffic is for every single one, go one by one in descending order and make a YouTube video explaining how to do what the blog post Zapier has. And I'm like, you're going to get like 500 videos over the course of a year. And then you just plug in every single video. It's like, hey, I'm an automations expert. If you need help with automations, workflows, client onboarding, I'm going to leave a link at the description below if you want to jump on a quick call with me, or you can send me a message at this link or at my Twitter. Just let me know what you're working on. And then what'll happen is he'll get all of these inbound leads from people who are searching for the exact thing, the exact category of stuff he's making content on, and then he's going to learn what precisely these people want to purchase. And the point of this whole spiel I just gave is that you can't force random things to work. You have to interject the traffic to where it already is and get the precise language and thing that the person is looking for with absolute precision. You can't just make something up and hope it works. It does not work. You can't force an offer to work.
Nailed it, dude. This was fun. There's tons of nuggets in here. Hopefully people are still watching this. This is awesome. For those that are still here, where do you want them to find you? Where should they go? Your YouTube, your Twitter?
YouTube, Daniel Fazio. Twitter, Black Hat Wizard, or the Daniel Fazio. Just follow both of them. But if you want to go watch a bunch of videos from me, definitely YouTube, Daniel Fazio.
Sick, dude. This was awesome. I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.